up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I hope you like this video. This is Sisters Season 2, Episode 20. So we pick up where we left off, and I think I forgot to tell y'all this part at the end of last episode. Andy gets to work, baby, and Gary's wife and two friends are waiting for her in the parking lot ready to whip her ass, okay? Now, she tries to reason with these ladies and threatens them with jail and everything else. And Gary's wife is very clear. I could care less. I'm going to whip your ass, and I really don't care about the consequences. She clearly don't care about the consequences because she done met her at the parking lot of a law firm. So she clearly don't care about the consequences. Baby, they commenced the whooping up on Andy. And let me be clear. Andy was kind of holding her own a little bit. I mean, not a whole lot, but a little bit. She was kind of holding her own a little bit. And next thing you know, who come rolling up? Fatima. Baby, Fatima get out the car with that gun. And they rolls out, right? Now, Andy said, ma'am, why you just happen to have a gun in your purse? She said, because I'm a single woman living in Atlanta, Georgia, I'm always strapped. And, by this time, Andy clothes is all dirty and torn and everything. And so she ends up going home. And Fatima was like, I got you. Now, who comes jumping out the car and got a video of the whole situation is the lawyer. The guy that, set Zach up. And, he tries to threaten Fatima. Fatima was like, listen, you're not threatening me. Like, I already told you, you don't get to tell me what to do. I'm not scared of you. You can take that video wherever you want to take it. I don't care. I ain't worried about it. I ain't tripping about it, right? Now, let me go ahead and knock this child. Let me go on and knock this storyline out. We have, Maurice down to the bank talking to the new guy. And, of course, he's still trying to be nice to Maurice and letting him know that, I'm not scared of you no more. I'm not going to, you being gay is no big deal to me. Like, I'm cool, And while they're sitting there, this clearly gay guy comes in to talk to Maurice. And he was like, let me take you. And Maurice is like, what are you doing here? And he was like, let me take you out to lunch. I know you're mad at me, but let me take you out to lunch to make up for last night. And he was like, last night? He was like, yeah, last night. He was like, my date, he told me he ran into you in the kitchen. And, of course, everything now clicks to Maurice. Maurice was like, he did what? That was you? He was like, yeah. He was like, what are you talking about? He said, I thought you were my roommate. He was like, you got a roommate? He said, no. He said, I've done that before. Like, my boyfriend was at the house. I've brought guys back to your apartment before. What's the big deal? And he was like, because I have a roommate now. Like, that's not an empty room anymore. Like, someone is actually renting that room. And I thought that's who it was in there. And he was like, no, it was me. So my thing is this. If that is something that your friend has done, at no point in time it occurred to you that that's who it could be. I mean, I get it that they jumped to the conclusion that they jumped to because it was his room. But anyway. So, of course, now he realizes, oh, my goodness, what did I say? I spoke too soon. Oh, my goodness, oh, my goodness. So he goes back to the apartment and he tells Calvin what it is. And he apologizes to Calvin. And Calvin was like, you need to go make things right with Sabrina. I still don't want to talk to Sabrina, but you need to go let Sabrina know what's what and the who. You need to let her know that what happened. And he was like, I'm going to let her know. I'm going to talk to her, but I really am sorry. And he tried to lighten up the mood. Maurice wasn't here for it. He wasn't having it. He ain't care. So Maurice goes back to the bank. And, of course, it takes him forever. But he finally confesses to Sabrina what happened. And, of course, now Sabrina look crazy and feels stupid. And she goes running out the bank. Now, it's the middle of the day. You the bank manager. You ain't said nothing. You ain't told nobody where you was going. But somehow you ended up down to the airport, child. So we are at the airport with Danny. Zach is confronting Danny, and he wants to know, did you talk to Karen? She was like, yeah, I talked to Karen. He was like, well, does Karen believe you? She was like, listen, I talked to Karen. Karen don't believe me. She still think you did it. And Zach was like, man, come on. He was like, you know what? I'm going to just have to do this myself. Like, clearly, she not going to, I need to talk to Karen myself. And he was like, and Danny was like, I don't know if that's what you want to do. I don't think that's your best option. And he was like, no, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to go down there. I'm going to go to my second job when I leave here. And when I get done at my second job, I'm going to go talk to Karen myself. Because I can't believe that she would believe that I would do this to her. Like, I can't believe that she would think less of me. Like, why would she do that? Oh, child. Anyway. So, While they're having this conversation, that's when Sabrina rolls up. And he's like, "You probably think I did it too. I did it too." And Sabrina was like, "No, actually, I don't." But of course, Zach is so caught up in his feelings, he can't hear nobody. And he was like, "Whatever, man, whatever. Like y'all probably, all of y'all just think the worst of me. I can't believe y'all would think that of me." And he goes stomping off. Well, then we have Sabrina talking to Danny, and Sabrina tells Danny what happened. And Danny finally said what I've been saying this whole time. Danny said, "Listen, I'm sick of this. You clearly don't like him." And she was like, "I do." She was like, "No, you don't. You clearly do not like this man. Because if you like this man, you wouldn't be jumping to the worst conclusions about him. Why are we still talking about him? Like, he wanted commitment from you. You didn't want to give him commitment. Now you mad that he didn't commit. Like, like make it make sense." And she said, "Listen, at this point, I'm really sick of this conversation. I'm really sick of having this whole conversation, right?" And she told Sabrina, "Just move on. Be done with it and move on." I said, "I know that's right, because that's what I've been saying. Y'all know I've been saying that since last season. I've been over this Calvin thing for a minute." So Andy is at the house. She told Gary, "Don't worry about coming by her job because she ain't there. She had to go home and, it's okay." She didn't call the police. She's a lawyer, so she didn't, she's written up the whole, the whole situation as much as she, as much as she can remember it. She's written up the whole incident, And so the police officer shows up, and of course, he knows her. He recognizes her from the courthouse. He thinks she's attractive, and I always told myself if I ever had the opportunity to meet you, that I wouldn't blow it, and that I would give you my phone number. And so, of course, he ends up giving Andy his phone number, but y'all know Andy ain't feeling it. Andy ain't thinking about him. She thinking about Gary Child. And again, as with Tyler Perry, I don't know if this is somebody that's going to be reoccurring. We're going to see him again, or this was just a one-time shot in the dark type situation. So, but he was flirting with Andy and let it be known that he thought she was attractive. He kept asking her, "Are you okay? You sure you're okay? You sure you're okay?" And she was like, "I am fine. I'm okay. Just go arrest these women." So she didn't know the other two friends, but of course she knew Gary's wife's name. And he was like, "All right, I'm gonna get on this as soon as I get out of here." And she was like, "Then leave." Karen is down at the job, with the receptionist, and here come Aaron with some flowers, and they go in the back, and he gets to, rubbing her feet and talking about, how much he cared about her. And she was like, "I just don't know how I can do this." And he was like, "What you talking about?" She was like, "Listen, I'm horny. This whole celibate thing, I don't know if I can make it work. Maybe I can go talk to that woman that, the first lady that came to see her a few weeks ago. I mean, her and her husband, they were celibate. And maybe I can, talk to her and we can figure it out. But I just don't know how I can do this." And he was like, "Listen, we can make it work. Like, it's okay. We can figure it out. We can make it work." Well, everybody's supposed to be heading over to Andy's house, right? Everybody's supposed to be heading over to Andy's house. So Andy is at the house with who? Gary. They're having this whole conversation. He finally shows her how to get the ring off of her finger. It is some weird, like, there's a magnet in the men's ring, and you got to put the rings together and turn the ring. And listen, it's a cute concept, but I don't like it. I wouldn't like it. I wouldn't like it. There's so many reasons why somebody needs to take their ring off. And if the man ain't around when it happens, like, what you gonna do? Cut it off every time? Like, I ain't like it. And even Andy said it feels sort of like bondage. Like, you're in control of the ring being on my finger. And I felt the same way. I was like, I don't know how, especially with somebody like a Gary, I don't know how I feel about that. So, she got wine. Listen, when Andy said that she twisted the cap off the wine, and then later on we'll talk about, I'm bougie. Now with that twist cap wine, you not. I ain't no wine connoisseur, but... So they get to talking back and forth, and, they flirting and all that good stuff, and I'm like, when you gonna tell him that his wife showed up to whoop your ass at your job? I'm just wondering. She finally tells him, and of course he's like, "What? She's crazy. I was trying to make a clean break. Why would she do this? That's ridiculous." And Andy was like, "Well, who were them two friends that was with her?" So she describes the women, and he gives her their names. And Andy was like, "Okay," because she gonna call that police officer as soon as Gary leaves. and add them names to that police report she made. And let me rewind a little bit. When she was on the phone with Gary, when the police officer knocked at the door, what Gary do? Who's that? I said, Andy, you better you ignored that. You better not. But to Gary's credit, he ain't run over there just because he heard somebody at the door assuming it was a man, right? But they ended up, so she said, listen, and he kept asking her, so are we engaged? You gonna put the ring back on? 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 So finally she says, well, listen, I don't know about us getting back together or not, but I mean, if we were to get married, I'm not giving up my career. He was like, okay, no problem. And I'm not moving to the boonies. Okay, no, that's fine. And I'm not having any children right now. And he hesitated on that one. And he was like, well, I mean, you were the one that wanted to have kids so that we, whatever it was. I think he said to mess, so you could mess up your figure or something like that. But he agreed to everything she said, and I was like, see, this is all too easy, Andy. This is all too easy. He is agreeing way too fast for me. And he said, so this means that we are engaged? And she was like, this means let me drink some more wine so we can think about it. And I was like, Back down to the salon, Zach shows up. Well, Zach shows up just as Aaron is leaving. And Aaron was like, do I need to stay? And Karen was like, nah, let's handle it. She was like, no, I got it. So her and Zach end up going in the back, and they end up having this whole argument. And he was like, Karen, I can't believe that you believe this. And she showed him the copy of the charges, and he was like, but this isn't me. Like, I know this is my name. She was like, that's your signature, Zach. He was like, but it's not me. He was like, you really believe I would do that? And she was like, yeah. He was like, look at me and tell me. And she couldn't look him in the face and say it, right? And so they kept doing this back and forth. He was like, look at me in my face. Look at me in my face. And she was like, well, why wouldn't I believe you would do this to me? And he started talking about how much he loved her and how hard it was for him when he couldn't find a job, to see her going out every day working hard and busting her ass, and how that made him feel bad as a man. And the reason why he's working so hard is to is to let her know how worthy he is of her love. And that's when I knew. I said, damn, Fatima. So now I see where that's going. I said, damn, Fatima. I really thought Zach was going to give you a fair shot. Next thing you know, he starts telling her that he loves her. And she's like, nope, I don't want to hear it. And he was like, yeah, but I love you. Nope, I don't want to hear it. But yeah, but I love you. Nope, I don't want to hear it. Next thing you know, they get to kissing. After the kissing, they get to doing some other stuff. And who doubles back? Which, of course, we saw that coming, right? Who ends up doubling back? Poor Aaron. Poor Aaron. He done walked in on him. That's the episode. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in them comments. Peace.